Hi, friends. Me again. I am looking to start and do my very first story documentation of a session that happened last week. And it kind of comes out of necessity because, as I say at a lot of actually in all my Zoom sessions, that if our energy is just too powerful for the internet to handle, we'll regroup, we'll be fine. And this is what happened on that session. Our energy, I guess, was just too strong, and it kept going in and going out, and it actually corrupted the audio file and video file for that matter. So I don't have any documentation other than the notes that I do keep during the session, which is awesome. I do that. I don't know why I'm guided to do that, but now I know why. Because if anything ever goes wrong, I do have some notes about the session. And this was an amazing session. It was beautiful. It was filled with beautiful worlds and guides, and I wanted to document it. But I'm also doing this out of necessity so that we will have documentation before I forget how beautiful it was. So the person who came to the session, we're going to call her AJ. Beautiful, beautiful person. And the intention that was set for this session was that she wanted to know where her galactic heritage was, maybe her origin planet, where she came from galactically. And she also wanted to meet her primary spirit guides. And she had a big question about why she's had so many challenges with career, finance, and love over the last 20 years. So those were the intentions that we set during our water induction. And as we get along further, we come across a beautiful cherry tree. And this was her opening after the little red bird. And many of you will know what I'm talking about. She came to see this big, beautiful cherry tree, and it was as big as a house and lots of pink. And the bark was light gray. And the sky was blue, blue with no clouds at all. And as I had her look around, there was sand. She said it looked like there was no grass, but there was water nearby, and it was gently going back and forth. She felt like it was kind of like an ocean with some small hills, and she described the sky later, or as it changed, as shades of pink in the sky. And then, of course, I had her look at her feet, and she said they are very white, and she's dressed in white, a white top with something pink. But she described herself as being very long and very pale and thin and tall, and she had clear blue eyes and blue lips with no hair. And she wanted to know where she was from, and she felt like she was from a star system with water. And then, of course, we went there, and the sky felt like it had light oblong clouds in pastel colors, and there were stars in the sky, but it was daytime. And she said that um, the stars were in a pastel sky, and the water was perfectly clear where she was. And then she went into the water, and then she described being able to breathe through her neck. And then down in the water, there was brown sand, and she could see dolphins, and then additional pools of water. And these water pools had colors, and they sounded beautiful. She described turquoise and magenta, and even a black pool. And I think later she mentioned that the black pool was her favorite for the energy reasons. And she would see creatures, she thought as creatures, but there was a turtle. It was very green, and it was walking along. And she felt so weightless, and the motion of the water was just so peaceful and rhythmic, and she could hear noises, and that the whole planet spoke of peace and ease and flow. And then she happened upon her friend, a dolphin, and this dolphin would make noises and make her laugh by raising the vibration and playing and just emitting joy. And she mentioned later when she wrote me back, she said, "This dolphin, I want you to make sure when you portray it, this dolphin was a friend, an equally intelligent being. This was not a dolphin pet or anything like a pet. That sometimes the dolphin led and sometimes she led. So, and her, the dolphin had a name. His name was Wrinkle, and he was very much an intelligent being and was not or inferior at all. So she made that very clear. And then she felt like during the session that the star system she was in started something with a V, but she later wrote me back and she said she did all this research and it more aligns with Sirius B. And I said, well, B and V, they kind of rhyme and sound the same, and nothing's perfect in the imagination world. So she also discovered, because researching that the beings that she looked like, and I'm going to have a picture on the thumbnail of one of the beings that she felt like she looked like, and it was uh, someone described like Sirius B. So at any rate, so the dolphin and she were always playing and having a good time. And then, like I said, the whole star was about peace. There was no technology. And there were a lot of portals and pockets of water. And these portals were these pockets of water. And she would just swim in and out of those puddles, and it would move energy around, and she could move to different areas and different planets and bring that peace and love and joy to other planets. And so they would swim through those portals to other planets, and they would bring into those planets. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes the dolphin followed, Wrinkle, and sometimes she would follow. And there was no sense of time and nowhere to be. And when I asked if she heard someone calling her name, what would it be? And she said Amar. And so we found out that Amar is her essence and later described as her higher self. And so, and later also, as I was confused during the session, but Amar is a she essence, and there was another entity there that looked just like her or similar to her, excuse me, and it was a male. So her friend, I don't think we got his name, but at any rate, so then as we realized that we were talking to Amar, which was representative of her higher self, I started asking the questions from her intention statement. And I went to ask about all the difficulty and challenges of the recent years, or actually she mentioned the last 20 years, and why she's encountering so many challenges with, all the things we mentioned before: finance, love, career, everything. And Amar responded with, she tries to push things forward instead of letting things flow. And it was very beautiful. And she suggested that letting things be what they are, and just to flow more, and just to laugh at the imperfections and remember how peaceful, and that those imperfections are just temporary challenges. And so then we moved on and asked Amar to bring in some of AJ's guides. And the first one that came through, she described as a younger man in his 20s with sandy brown, long curly hair. And he gave us the name Peter. And we confirmed that he was a guide. But Peter was from Greece, and he was a sculptor, and he was all about art and beauty and communication and writing. And he was not a famous sculptor, but he did mention, this was kind of funny, he did mention that he did a lot of work that he didn't get recognized for. So that's an unsung guide. And then the next entity guide that came forward was a hooded male, and she described him as wearing a deep red cloak, and his face was straight with long hair, and he had a sharp angled nose, which and he felt kind of like protection and a confrontation in a courageous way, standing up for themselves, strength, quick decision making, determination, justice. He also carried a hidden sword, and she originally got the name R, and she said the name Renee, which we just go with whatever comes out. Later, she did more research, and she decided or felt like this was Archangel Raphael, because the pictures portray him in a red cloak with a hidden sword. And we asked, how does he help AJ? And he said he works with her intuition and helps her know who to trust and who not to trust, because she came into this world very naive and she needs to trust her intuition a little bit more. And then a female entity came in with dark hair, and AJ described her as a fast mover, that she could move between worlds, and she was an example of how to move through planets and space and time, and she zips around very quickly, and this was kind of fun and interesting. But that she had a flying carpet. And of course, I asked if AJ was going to have a flying carpet, and she said, AJ can find something similar, like a tube of water, and it's like a water slide, and it just connects different spaces in space, where when she wants to visit, she just brings that into her intention, and she calls in the tube, and she can travel there through this water slide tube, which I thought was just crazy. And then we asked for a name, and the name came out to be Kari. And we decided at that point we were losing internet so bad we had to kind of start to wrap things up before we lost it again. But she just wanted to give gratitude to Wrinkle and all her other galactic friends. And she described again the star being a cluster of stars, not just one star. It was very peaceful, and there's really no earthly name. And just wanted to confirm Amar was her higher self, and she is a she and not a he, which was my misunderstanding. And then I got, and then we wrapped up and we said our gratitudes, and it was great, and it was a wonderful session. And then I got her recommendation back, and it made me cry. And I'm not going to cry here, but it says, I thoroughly enjoyed my Beyond Quantum Healing session with Melissa. Her voice was soothing, and 2 hours felt like 30 minutes. She asked questions and gently guided me through what I was seeing, but didn't try to make any assumptions about the information coming in. By the end of the session, my questions had all been answered. I was floating on joy and had deep sleep and beautiful dreams that night. I highly recommend a session with Melissa, and I look forward to doing it again soon. AJ. And I cried. So I'm just so thankful for my session with AJ and with everyone who trusts me to work with them. If you've done a session with me, you know I put all of my energy in it, and I'm right there with you the whole way. And if anyone's wondering if they should be scared about having a session, no. I absolutely only ask for the highest and best entities to join us, and I protect us, and they protect us. And so I just wanted to share that. Thank you, AJ, for allowing me to share your story. And you guys all just have a wonderful day. TruLoLi.